Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good morning. Why is that weird? My computer's still weird. Anyway, I'm live, and I want to warmly welcome you to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace, and make sure they hang on to your children. Now, this is a live podcast broadcast here from Southern California. I'm in Surf City, USA, 3 blocks from the ocean. And I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father, a loving husband, and I have 6 children that I've helped raise. I also have had 41 years of marriage experience, so I have a lot of life skills I can share with you. And you've reached a podcast that I make it affordable so everybody can interact. Now, you found me on Facebook, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. And, you know, this is a worldwide podcast. Anybody that has internet can hear this podcast. So I warmly welcome anybody that's involved with the child protection systems. That's what I call the child protection systems. It's CPS for short. And every country, every state, wherever you are, it has different names, but all means the same. It's an agency, a government agency that mandates that our children that are protected from neglect and abuse. Furthermore, if you're in need of food or shelter or clothing or transportation or education or medical, even a job, you can get help. And if it's necessary for the CPS organization to take your children away, there's something called family reunification. And it's so important that that be embraced. And that should be the main thrust of CPS. But I'm afraid many of the CPS, whether in the United States or around the world, are very corrupt. Now, I have about 20 countries I've spoken to, from Bangladesh to India, to 2 countries in the Middle East, to 6 countries in South Africa, to 8 countries in Europe, on to North America. I've had 4 provinces in Canada. All 50 states, including Washington, D.C., have texted in or called in about their CPS case. Now, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's a district of Columbia. And I've had Mexico and then Grenada down in South America. Across the Pacific, I've had New Zealand and 2 states in Australia, the Gold Coast and the South Coast of the state of Victoria, Melbourne area. But everybody is welcome here. We just want to be nice to one another and help one another. I've created a family here of beautiful people I see someone already joining my room. Kathy Ripley from Nova Scotia, the province of Nova Scotia of Canada. Welcome, Kathy. And it's a new day. All I know is that every day starts out as a new day. We have a new president. We have a lot of things happening. All I know, there's pros and cons about a new president, but this president came out of the gate, start working. I don't know how he can manage what he does. He is already communicating to the world. He's already making changes happen, and he's working. He's earning his keep. Not only is he president of the United States, he's president of the United States with no salary. And so hopefully the effects of his administration will trickle down to straighten out and get CPS going in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying all CPS is bad, but the majority of them, and of the 900 people I've talked to over the last 15 months, has shown they are bad. And Kathy knows that. Kathy from Canada. Yes, I like your saying there, Kathy. She says the best interest is the child. And yes, it is. That should be the number one thing that CPS does. Now, I mentioned family reunification. If a family structure needs to be taken apart and the children need to be taken for their safety, not just taken, too many CPS cases take the children, and that's wrong. That's wrong. Children should only be taken away from the family when there's danger to them, to their safety, to their well-being. But too many cases start off with the accusations being true. And good morning, Grace. Welcome. Grace is my show producer, and she works so hard to make this podcast available. Anyway, and Margaret, good morning. Margaret is from St. Louis, Missouri. So we have a Canadian and a Missourian. Welcome. God, I seem like I have a frog in my throat. Last night, we're very blessed to have Shannon and Courtney as our guests who talked about their case in Nova Scotia. Now, Courtney, who has some special needs, was trying to raise her child. Her mom wants to step in and help, and CPS was doing nothing more than trying to stop that. It was hard. There's other ladies in here, Betty Jo and Crystal and Tessa. We're all trying to get their children back. There's Felicia and JD. There's Philistine. There's many of you that come in here. I'm so hopefully one of these days I'll somehow come up with a solution to try to fix this computer or get a new one because it's old. Anything that's old, sometimes they think is a dinosaur. Now, I'm not old. I'm forever young. But yes, indeed, taking off this thing there. I apologize for that. But it is a beautiful morning. Our sun's out. We have another fire in LA or near LA that's burned something like 10,000 football fields. Every time an acre burns up, it's the size of a football field. So if you can imagine 10,000 coliseums, it is a big fire. Luckily, not any homes or structures or people have to be evacuated. Now, early on in my show, we had Mrs. D. She is a YouTube new member, and she was on my show last night. We never got to know where she was from, but she participated. Now, to participate in this podcast, this is a live podcast. I want everybody to know that besides being in this room, taking notes, doing emojis, clicking it if you want to be following me or get a notification. I wonder how that came on. Let's see what happened here. Somehow, my problem is that I have to hit the back button or the escape button so I can scroll up, because apparently that got put on, but it shouldn't. Hide. Okay. Okay. I'm talking about how they also interact. I love comments, and I love to try to answer them. They're fully displayed in the room, and sometimes I put them up on the screen and discuss them. I try to help out everybody that has a comment or a question. You just text your message. Make sure to show me your first name. Also, I like to know the city or the county your case is in and the state. That helps me determine the CPS cases I've heard, because I've been on for 15 months. And so there's a lot there. Now, Kathy from Canada says, in where I live, they post a bill for grandparents' rights, where if you prove you've been a huge part of children's life, you can request visitation with children, even in care. Well, that's sad that you have to request that. In the U.S., grandparents do have a right. In fact, since we're talking about grandparents, I want you all to know that you can get a book. It's called The Guide to Grandparents and the Steps to Seeing Your Grandchild and to get guardianship of your grandchild. It is dealing with California, but it's a book that can be used anywhere. It's $9.99. And with a discount, excuse me, wow. You just type in capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E, and the number's 50, and you get 50% off. 50% off. If you look at some of the messages from some of the room, it talks about the discount code. You can also use VWD, which is Vincent, my attorney's code, 52. You can use that. You go to a website called the sand.store, and that's where you can pick up your book. It's really important to guarantee or to exercise your right as a grandparents. See, CPS is about children, about their safety and protection, but it's also about having family members nurture and take care of their child. And part of the family are the grandparents, the cousins, the sisters, the uncles, the brothers, the in-laws, all those people, all part of a child's life. And it's so important. And it gets me so irked when I hear CPS that say grandparents have no rights, elders have no rights, seniors have no rights. CPS has become very corrupt, and a lot of them have gone rogue. Not all of them, but a lot of them, about 900 of them. 900 agencies have gone rogue. And why? Because of the 900 people I talked to, they all have something in common. They took my child when there was no danger. They came into my home and searched my home. They took my child. Well, I have several rules. And one of my rules, number 3, is you don't allow them in the home. You don't allow them to take your children. You don't give them permission. You don't talk to them. You need to talk to an attorney, and that's my rule number one. You need to get an attorney. Anytime you get involved in CPS, the first thing you do is want to get an attorney. And don't be tricked into taking a court-appointed attorney or a public attorney for yourself or for your children. Because you do so, you'll lose your case for sure. Because CPS hires these attorneys. And CPS, controls these attorneys. And these attorneys are only skilled in the area of criminal law. The law that you're in is called dependency law, with a background of juvenile law and family law. Juvenile law, family law, and dependency law all go together. That's the law that you're in. That's the kind of attorney you need. And you just heard from my attorney, Vincent Davis. And he does a lot of things to help you all. He's a pit bull of attorney. As he says, he has 39 years of fighting CPS. Not only that, he's a trial attorney. And on top of that, he has done civil lawsuits against CPS. When your case is closed, he's won millions of dollars against the CPS, whether in the state courts or in the federal courts. He's won the money. So he has all the characteristics of a good attorney. Now, since we're talking about an attorney, you should always pick 3 attorneys. You need to get 3 quotes. And I'm not counting the court-appointed or public defender. I've already told you about one attorney, Vincent Davis. There you go. And there's 2 important questions you ask. 1, are you professionally trained and licensed in the areas of juvenile law, family law, dependency law, and have fought CPS and gotten the children back? If the answer is yes, you go to the second question. Have you, when the case is closed, ever sued the CPS and won money back? And if the answer is yes, you got yourself a winner of an attorney. You got yourself a pit bull of attorney. Any attorney that sues CPS takes a lot. That's the kind of attorney you want. And you go through and you find 3 attorneys and you see how much the retainer is. And you try to work out your finances, either getting another mortgage or a credit line or selling your home, a quick sell of your home. That's what I had to do. I had to quick sell my home to come up with money to hire Vincent Davis. And he's one of the top attorneys in the country. He works out of Arcadia, California. He has cases in LA County, Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County. He has cases in Northern California, case in Oklahoma, and other states in the country. He'll go anywhere to help you save your child. And there are ways you can talk to him for free. At the bottom of my screen, I have a ticket running where it says you can talk to Vincent Davis for 30 minutes. It's something I set up special with Vincent Davis. All you have to do is go to that website, pay the $60, and you have 30 minutes to talk to Vincent Davis. 30 minutes. Now, the other number on my screen, 888-888-6582, is the law offices of Vincent W. Davis. There you can find help with attorneys. He has lots of attorneys for lots of needs, like immigration, real estate, education, the workplace, criminal, divorce. So he has lots of attorneys there. You can also reach him also if you were ready to retain him. And when you do call in, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. If you talk to Vincent Davis, it's important you say that Bob Pace sent you. Now, going back to how the text and message, make sure that, you do those things. Now, if you're from a country, make sure you put your province or your state. Some of you have states out there, along with all the other information, and of course your country. And try to be complete with your case when you text in so I know what your case is about. Now, a third way to interact with this podcast is to schedule as our guest with my show producer. Her name is Grace at vincentwdavis.com. You just email her. My shows are twice a day, 7 days a week. I've been doing this for 15 months. I've not missed a day. I do it on holidays. I'm here in the morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, at night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. They're 1 hour podcasts. Now, on Saturday, Sunday, I come on at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, I do the podcast in the morning. And there may be other times during the week, but I'll let you know. But right now, that's my schedule. So pick one of those morning shows or afternoon shows, one of those days, 7 days a week. That's 14 shows. And send it with an email to Grace that you want to be on. I've had, for the last couple of days, 2 sets of people. And it's been great. They can ask their questions. They can help others with issues. And everybody has a right to be on this show. Everybody has a right to speak. I'm very open to everybody equally. You all are beautiful people. And I want to help you because you're in the worst nightmare of your life. I was in it. I have firsthand experience. 3 of my 6 children were taken from us. They were trafficked. They were stolen. They didn't have to go. They weren't in danger. They were all in school at the time. But CPS was after me for 5 years. And what it was, and I did not know at the time, is a layperson was calling in. My in-laws, my wife's family, were calling in once a week, saying things that weren't true about me and my wife. They never have liked our family. And for 31 years, they never liked our family. But anyway, they're the ones that were calling in the allegations. The problem with allegations is CPS will believe they're true and they'll hang you. They'll say you're guilty. And somehow these rogue agencies, not all of them, have taken on the fact that they want to have your child in foster care. In fact, there's an incentive that was passed by Bill Clinton in 1994 that says you get a special compensation for putting them into foster care than you do into family reunification. They were discouraging family reunification. Now, I've heard that's changed, but I need to find out more information about that. But they would get additional $6,000 to $10,000, depending if they're a special need, for the incentive to get into foster care, on top of the $20,000 they got per month from the state to the county. That's a lot of money. $30,000 per child per month is a lot of money. That's why it's $1 trillion business. That's why it's $1 trillion business. Now, I'm going to put my phone number up so we all can start. You can call in now. My phone is live. That means you can talk on the phone. It's 626-698-0990. Now, that being said, is that when you call in or you're on as a guest, you're entitled to a 15-minute free Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. So if you call in or you're a guest, that's the incentive. That's what Mr. Davis and I worked out. So if you want to speak to him, he offered to you for 15 minutes a Zoom consultation, and it'll be well worth it. Most of you have done so. Now, I need to go back to the questions that are being asked in the room here. I don't want to forget that. Excuse me. I have to hit escape key a couple times, backspace, page up, or up on the arrow to get my scrolling to work till I can see the people that have called in. As soon as I did that, they all jumped down. I'll get there. It's just going to take some time. Okay, it's right after these rooms. I think we have some more here. Okay, we have a new person. Welcome, Javier Luna Jr. He's a YouTuber, and he asked, "Is CPS incentive to take children from the home?" Well, it might be. It might be. When uh, what they're doing is they're rewarding CPS for having them adopted. To take them from the home isn't the incentive. The reason why the children are taken from the home is it's money. Money. It's $1 trillion business. As soon as your case is open and they call to the state to get a number, they have to register and they get a number. They're going to start receiving money. And when they take your children, that's when they get that $20,000. It's nothing to do with the incentive. It's just the way they want to get money. It's $1 trillion business. Also, can you tell me, Javier, what part of the world are you from? That would be great. That'd be great. And Margaret says Trump administration. Okay. Kathy Ripley from Canada. By the way, Margaret's from Missouri. And where I live, they passed a bill for grandparents' rights, where if you prove you've been a huge part of the child, you shouldn't have to prove, but I'm glad they have that bill because grandparents, as I said earlier, is a part of the family. Now, Margaret from Missouri said just announced they're going to shut down federal programs. Well, I don't know what that's going to do to CPS because they'll be out of money. We also get assistance in the form of food and other things too. So I hope they don't shut down Social Security or social services. Where is that from, Margaret? Where was that announcement came from? JD. Hi, this is a mum from the United Kingdom from Harwich, and she's got a question for you, please. Okay, JD, maybe you know how to organize a protest with the parents against the government. I'm planning to protest against children's services in public near the council building town hall. You can look into that. The first step you want to do is you want to go to the internet. Type in Harwich, England. Then put the letters CPS. How do I do a protest? Now, most protests worldwide, you want to make sure they're peaceful. You don't want to dress in battle fatigues and cause nothing but havoc. A peaceful protest is the best way. And you want to get a message across to the council people that you need to see some changes. So you got to be nice to everybody. The police will be called, but there's a permit you can get to do sometimes a permit to do a peaceful march. Now, what you could do is walk down the streets with a group of you to the council. By you walking down the streets, you'll get other people to join in and people to see what you're doing. You need to alert all the news media, everything, whether it's TV or newspaper or radio, you need to announce it all that you're going to do a protest. And you got to make sure that you set the rules for the protest based on the guidelines they give you for doing a peaceful protest. Now, every country's different. I know in the United States, we have a very open door with democracy. Now, I would think England would too, but I don't know. I don't know how, government in UK works because it's mystifying to me seeing a bunch of hotheads throwing paper at each other in the parliament chambers and yelling and disrespectful to one another. That's my experience with Parliament. I do have a very sweet English friend who lives in Doncaster, and she's on the council. And she does things to make changes like get a better drainage system. They have troubles when it rains that their yards get flooded and their town gets flooded. So she got involved in trying to make changes. So, besides the marches, you can get involved by being a council person. If a lot of you with CPS backgrounds became council people or on the board of directors or whatever the groups are called, with your background, you can make rules, you can make law changes. That's what really would help, is to have in the United States congressmen and representatives that have a background in CPS so that they can bring forward groups to talk about how bad CPS is. Government does make changes. Government does make changes. So hopefully that helps you, JD from England. Hopefully that helps you. Now, JD further says, the mom from Harwich, England says, it's sad to listen that grown-ups, hundreds of generations, grew up with our books and children was in respectful morals, but the generation so I am broken that the government think we don't know how to look after our children. Well, sometimes I think it's gone off the far end. What I mean by that is that I think they jumped the bandwagon. They've found a lucrative way where money is controlling the issue. If they stop with the money, maybe there'd be better treatment of our children and families. But it's a money thing. Money has overcome a majority of the CPS workers, the social workers. Now, when I say CPS, I mean all the child protection systems. But JD further says, but government only one who is criminal and parents shame on this agenda technology group that we need reading books to learn how to be a parent. I got so angry when I heard the nonsense that parents need a book to become a father, mother. Is disgusting, but only live on hope. Okay, not all parents are fortunate to have the background in life skills. That's something that I wish life skills were taught from the time they enter school, when they enter preschool, then preppy K, then kindergarten, then grades 1 through 5, then middle school, grades 6 through 8, and then high school, grades 9 through 12, and then your college program, your 4 years, and then your PhD and your master programs. Every year you're in school, I think there should be a class in life skills, because there's a lot of them. You're not born with a manual. Now, you learn from your parents, but sometimes a lot of you may have parents that were bad. But one of the earliest problems that children have is bullying. Bullying in elementary school. Kids want to pick on one another. They got to stop that. Now, in middle school, you're getting to know about sex. So you have to start knowing about sex, because it's going to come up. And you're either going to learn the hard way and get pregnant, or learn from your friends or something in there. So that should be. Also, they should teach life skills of how to cook and clean a house, how to help out your mom and dad. In college, it's dating and marriage and divorce. Those are things you need to know about. You also need a class on how to deal with CPS, with your taxes, how to file your taxes, how to set up a banking account, a checking account, a savings account. How to sew. There's so many life skills that you can learn. How to dance, how to introduce yourself to one another, how to treat people. I have several golden rules. Never judge a person unless you've walked in their moccasins. That's an old Indian saying. Also, treat others how you like to be treated. Treat others how you like to be treated. Bullying takes place a lot of times. And it's sad because social media allows it. We should have better control about our social media. Now, I got to stick to the CPS. So, very important we stick with CPS. So, the reasons why CPS wants you to take these classes, there are parents that do need help with parenting skills. I did not object to taking parenting classes when I too was told by CPS. I did not mind doing that. I don't mind education. I've been educated all my life. I've constantly taken education. So go ahead with it. And you might learn one thing or another, JD. Now, JD says, family court, it's corrupt. I don't trust them. I know you say the family court. I didn't trust dependency court. We call it dependency court. There's family court. It's all the same name. The judge is elective official by the people. They're not appointed, but then maybe in your country they are. I don't know if England elects their judges or appoints them. Now, our judges in dependency court are elected, but most people don't choose the judges wisely. My judge was terrible. My courtroom was corrupt. My judge knew how to do accident claims and how to do car accidents, but he knew nothing about family reunification or children or parents' rights or anything else. It was terrible. This judge was an awful judge. And his courtroom reflected that because he was palsy-wowsy with the attorneys and the bailiff and the clerk. They went to lunch together. They played golf together. You know, they were friends. It was like it's like a club, and you're an outsider. So it is, I know what you're saying, that it is broken. And in England, I appreciate you telling me that too. Well, they use that, generally speaking, to get money. There are some parents that don't know how to look after their children. There are bad parents. There are children. In our country, 1,000 children go unreported every day, and they're in harm of negligence and abuse. So there are bad parents. But what's happened is that they've labeled good parents as bad parents. She further says, but government only who is criminal, not parents. Shame on this agenda technology. Gangs are needed. Reading books to learn how to be parents. I got to be angry when I hear this nonsense that parents need to study a book to be a father, a mother. It's disgusting, but only I live on hope. Okay, I understand, JD. And that's your perspective. And I respect your perspective. But I did not object to learn to be a better parent. In fact, I took over the room in the class discussions because I would counter a lot of things they talk about. In fact, I made it work for me. I would sit there in class and I said, wait a minute, that's not true. Blah, 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 blah. And I would tell them from my experience. So you can turn that around and make it really for you. Family court is corrupt. Yes, it is. Not all family court. I don't trust them. They fund by government to win cases, always against the parents. Okay, 900 people agree with you, JD. And of the 900, some are around the world. But you have to understand, there's more than 900 parents in this world. And the cases I talk about, they all have something in common. The child protection system was corrupt. The courts are corrupt. I believe you, JD. And, you know, it's okay. You're a good parent. You're in here because you care. Now, Margaret from Missouri says, I never going to give up, even if I have to sell my home. I know the feeling, Margaret. I worked 45 years to get my home, and I had to sell my home to get the money to hire an attorney. I'd already maxed out my mortgages. I'd already maxed out my credit line. I needed money. I needed an attorney. So I went and hired the best I could, and that was Vincent W. Davis. And I did that, Margaret, and I know I never gave up. I've gotten 2 of my 3 children that were stolen by CPS back. The third one, unfortunately, you guys have heard it, was my daughter of 12 years old. Our social worker was very corrupt, and she committed perjury on the stand. She lied, and Vincent Davis caught her, and she was so embarrassed and humiliated. And she said to us parents, you're never going to see your daughter. And what she did is that she did revenge. CPS does do revenge. And she told our daughter, who was 12 at the time, you can emancipate from your parents. That means you can divorce your mom, your dad, your 3 brothers, your 2 sisters, your grandparents, both sets, your uncles, your aunts, and your cousins. Divorce them all. And on top of that, she encouraged her daughter, or actually told her daughter, and my daughter did not know, that erase your name. Change your name completely. And she had a beautiful middle name, Hanalei. It's the most picturesque Garden of Eden in the world. It's on Kauai. And you've probably seen a movie called Bali High, which is a famous musical. And it takes place in Hanalei. Hanalei is a beautiful place on Kauai. And so we named her that. That's gone. That's gone. It is so hurtful to us parents that for 12 years we raised a child and her name is gone. And on top of that, she sealed her birth certificate. Do you know a 12-year-old can seal a birth certificate? That means we're no longer her parents. She got a new birth certificate and she was getting adopted by these foster parents, and they're her parents. And on top of that, she got a second Social Security card and is double dipping from Social Security. She's double dipping from Social Security. She did that all until she was 18. She got twice my money. By the way, the Social Security comes from money you earn. It does not come from anybody else. The government takes your money, holds it. They build interest on that money. That interest is what the government uses to finance them. That Social Security should never, ever be touched by the government. It should be a mandatory retirement plan that collects interest. So if you made, if you have millions of dollars of Social Security and the interest on that, you'd have a lot that you can live comfortably. But that's not the case. That's not the case. So I know, JD, sometimes you have to eat crow to get your children back. The sad part is we got my 2 boys back, but we did get our daughter back. She now is 22 years old, wants nothing to do with her family. She does see her brothers. That's something I've encouraged my sons to see her sister. Hopefully one day she'll realize that her mom and dad loved her very much. Now, Margaret, I'm never going to give up, even if I have to. Okay, I read that again. I may be bouncing around here. I'm sorry if I am. Enola Rose Williams, welcome. I think you're new. I don't think I've spoken to you before. Hello to you. This is Enola. We spoke on the phone last week, I believe. I'm sorry, Enola. We probably did. And I'm glad to see you again. Can you tell me where you're from, Enola Rose? And so happy to see you again. And give me an update on your case. Now, what happens if children are adopted out? Does the grandparents get to see the children? What are the grandparents again? Well, it all depends on the adoption process, Sarah. Sarah, you look like you have a beautiful picture. I don't know where you are, but it looks like you love the ocean or the sea or lakes or water. But welcome, Sarah. Um, if you're a grandparent, there is a guide that you can get. And if you scroll up to some of the rooms, it tells you how you go to the internet link and get the guide for $9.99. And if you use my name, capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E, and the letters and the numbers 50, you get 50% off. It's for $4.99. But it's a grandparent's guide of how to see your grandchildren and how to adopt. It's for California, but it'll work anywhere. It's got some good advice. That depends on the adoption process. If you put a stipulation in there, and I'm sorry if I didn't adjust my picture right. I just noticed on my picture. It depends on the adoption process. You need a court order to see the grandparents. But usually when a child is adopted, they usually change the name and they forget their family lineage. They have new family, new grandparents, and it's sad, Sarah. It's really sad. It varies from state to state. You need to look into it. Now, Margaret says, administration just announced, I think she's talking about our administration, that that this morning that they're going to be shutting down federal programs. I did not hear that. I knew that they wanted to shut down the people that work from home, that don't do work, that waste government spending. Also, I heard that they wanted to base people's work on merit, not on their race or creed. For instance, if they have a quota that they need 30 purple people, they pick purple people over how well a person works. Now, I'm using that as an example. There's no such thing as purple people. But the merit program is where you work hard, you're rewarded hard, you're rewarded nicely. They want to do a merit program. And then the people that work at home or away from government stuff are called back to work. They don't want people all working at home. It's gone too far the other direction. But as far as shutting down federal programs, I don't think they're going to shut them down because one federal program is Social Security. And they are the agency entrusted to pay back the money that seniors have deposited in with the government to help support the government for 60 years. And then they get it back. So also federal programs like paying the military. I don't think I need to look into that, Margaret. I don't think they mean CPS either. Okay, Sarah's from California. Welcome, Sarah. And what city in California are you from? Now, hi, Litzy. You're another mom from South Africa, from the province there. I know it's evening time. It's still morning for me in California. It's afternoon on the East Coast here. I think it's evening time in South Africa. And you're not late at all. I'm so glad to see you, Lindsay. She is Lucy from the place called Postersund. I have to work on my South African language there because that sounds like a beautiful place. Potchefstroom. And I don't think that's a province. I think that is, suddenly my comments went wacko here. Let me try to get them back up again. I was speaking for the lady from South Africa. And she's from I think it's a town that is. She's from the West Cape on the west side of South Africa. Sarah, thank you so much. I'm the only grandparent who's been only getting 1 hour a month, yet the other grandparents want involved with everything. I'm so scared and have no one to help me. Well, you come to the right place. I usually have 20 or 30 people in this room that talk. They're from around the world and they care about one another. I've Akima Richardson from Brooklyn, New York, who went back to school and became an attorney. She helps a lot. I have Tessa from California. I have Margaret from Missouri. Sarah, you're in good hands. I will help you. I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week, 14 shows. So if you don't talk to me one time, I'm around the next time. And Sarah says, thank you again. Well, thank you, Sarah. By the way, Sarah is from Redding, California. There she is. She put Redding. Okay, glad to have you. Glad to have you. And Lucy is from South Africa. How do I file a complaint against my caregiver? Where do I go? Well, the simple way to do that, Lucy, is to get on the internet. I use Google. And it's very important that you phrase your question right. You want to put your city, your province, and your country. You're in a city, you have a province, and you have a country. Then after that, you put the letters CPS. Now, if your city is a small city, you may have to put a bigger city like Johannesburg or Durban. I don't know if those cities are close to you or not. But Durban and Johannesburg are big cities in South Africa. Then you put the letters CPS, and then you type in, how do you file a complaint against a caregiver? And it will tell you step-by-step procedures. I know you can file a complaint, and whether you can do it in South Africa at the local level or you have to go to the province level, that's what you have to do. But you can file a complaint against anybody for anything. There is a procedure. You just need to look it up. Okay, Lucy? Lucy says, how do I file a complaint against... Okay, I thought I read that. I guess it got repeated again. Yeah, it got repeated twice. I don't know why, but that's okay. Sarah says, thank you, Mr. Pace. I'm from Redding, California. Yes, I understand that, Sarah. You're from Redding, California. And Sarah says, I'm currently in Redding, California. I do love the ocean, but that picture is in Oregon. Okay, all right. Yeah, Redding, California is Northern California. And I guess I'm right because I love the ocean. The sea is, I'm married to the sea. I love the sea. I wish my gills would get wet all the time because I feel like I would dry up. But it is hard what you're going through. All of you have so many questions. You all are caring people. You wouldn't be in this room if you didn't care about your family. And what's so important is you try to follow some of my rules. Now, I have 5 of them, and I've already talked about 3 of them. I've talked about getting an attorney and how important it is to have an attorney. He's going to be your fighter, and you're probably a lot of them saying, I don't have the money. I didn't have the money either, but I looked at my resources. Yes, I value my home. I regret selling it because it took me a long time to get it. It took me a long time to get it. My home was a beautiful home. It was new. It had a beautiful yard, a beautiful family. CPS disrupted my family. tore it apart. I had to go through atrocious things in my home. I don't know where to start or where to end. But losing a home is bad. Not only did I lose my home, I lost my credit because having CPS on your records ruins your credit. And on top of that, I had lost a job early on before I got involved in CPS. And CPS has been very hard to get me to get a job because they do a background check. And if the word CPS shows up on your record, so all of you, when you get done with your CPS case, you need to get your record expunged. You need to remove anything connected with CPS. Also, if you're once in foster care as a child and grow up as an adult, they'll come after your children and their children, and their children. CPS keeps records of everybody, and they like easy people, easy prey, people that don't, it's not against the law to be homeless. It's not against the law to not have a job. But you should try to have a home and a job. And social services in the United States does help people in the area of food, shelter, clothing, transportation, education, medical, and even help you find a job. That's why so many people come into the United States. And now we're going to regulate those people. We didn't say we're going to stop taking people in the United States. We just say it's no longer an open door policy. We don't want the riffraff of the world. We don't want the cartels of the world. We don't want the drugs of the world. We are now taking seriously who comes in. And we need to take care of our own. We need to be fair. CPS has got to learn that it isn't about money. It's about families. Families are precious. Studies have shown that the best parents to raise a child are the biological parents. Now, if they have a hiccup, they do drugs, or they don't know how to change a diaper, or how to do all that, they will help you with education programs that help you. They'll help you with drug treatment programs where they get you off the drug. They're supposed to. The process, it costs money and time. And CPS sees the dollar bill, that sees the money. I know in Africa, South Africa, they call it the rand. In England, it's called the pound, or the slang word to quid. In Canada, it's the Canadian dollar. In Australia, it's Australian dollar. Wherever you're at. In Japan, it's the yen. I'm a world traveler. I've been to over 50 countries. I've been to almost every state. I have so much I could share with you, my experiences. I've trained killer whales to operate in a seafood restaurant. I've taught high school biology and chemistry, advanced placement, college level classes. I've been a marine biologist and a civil engineer. I've built roads and highways. So I have a diverse background. I've been on the board of directors of the American Red Cross. I've given over 50 years to the Red Cross and to Boy Scouts of America, or Scouts of America. They no longer are called the boy because they have girls and transgenders in them. There are going to be a lot of changes these next 4 years. I've already seen, since he's taken office, 3 days of changes. He has signed so many things into law. He seems to be cleaning things up and going in a positive direction. He gave a beautiful speech this morning to the World Economic Forum. It was a Zoom meeting or whatever it was. But I hope that he will correct the programs we have, the federal programs. We need to make CPS accountable for their actions. They need to be prosecuted. And if they're found to be bad, they need to be punished. Let me see here. Oh no, it's 11 o'clock. I got going so much, I didn't realize the time was stepping by. So, with that being said, I got to end my show. Now, Margaret says, from what I understand, there's two types of adoption, open and closed. I believe the open adoption allows the parents or grandparents to be involved in the child's life. You're so true. There's open and closed adoption for all you listening. Now, Lynn Cindy says, and thank you, Uncle Bob. I will Google it tonight. All right, Lucy, you do that from South Africa. You Google that and find out what you find and get back to me, Lucy. And Margaret, you're going to be the last comment I have to read because right now my show is over. How could a federal program shut down affect CPS if there was a case? Well, I need to look in further on the shutdown. I will research it on the internet and get back to you. But I don't think any federal programs are being shut down. I think they're being cleaned up. There's a lot of government waste out there, like $17,000 for a little old toilet seat to go on a toilet, or a cult group in Utah wanting millions of dollars to develop alternative fuel, or the ridiculous money that CPS makes. All that money's got to be cleaned up. So with that being said, I want to thank all of you people. I want to thank Lucy from South Africa. Margaret, I want to thank you from Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. I want to thank Sarah from Redding, California. I want to thank, let me see if I get the rest of the people here. I want to thank JD, the mom from the United Kingdom, from Harwich, England. That was so sweet of you to talk on the show. I want to thank Kathy Ripley from Nova Scotia, Canada. There's a lot of you that came in the room tonight. We all talked. Hopefully I helped out everybody. And I hope I not miss anybody. But God bless you all. I want to make sure that you come back tonight. I'll be on again at 7 p.m. That's Pacific time, California time. And Javier, Luna, it's important to meet you. Have a beautiful day, Angel.
You too.
All right.
It's a nice day out.
Yes, it is. I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. My family is going out. And so, anyway, it's so beautiful to have all of you. I think I've thanked you all. God bless you. There'll be a brief message from Vincent Davis, who will talk about a lot of things he can help you with. Listen to him, and remember to keep fighting for your kids. God bless you, and it's Bob Pace.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Babe, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.